Oh, yeah. 5-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This is the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up. Hey, 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 way down in the back.
TA. We are live. Monday edition of the Tigers Avenue Show. Big one, Zach. A big show in terms of Tigers Avenue, specifically the 200th episode of Tigers Avenue.
Fast.
It has gone by absolutely fast. I can't believe it's 200 episodes. When Zach told me, I was kind of shocked. I didn't even realize it was 200 episodes. Episode 200.
We started this in November of 2022.
I believe so. It's 2022.
Yep.
Been rolling. 200 episodes of the Tigers Avenue Show. It's been a blast. We appreciate all y'all's continued support, and we love doing this. It's a lot of fun to get on here and talk about the Tigers in all different sports and in all different ways. Here's to 200 more, Zach. 200 episodes of Tigers Avenue. Can't believe it. Believe it. But it's a good episode. There's good and bad to talk about in our 200th episode. Obviously, we'll give you a little recap of the women's, what transpired on Sunday against UCLA and the close of the women's basketball season. We're obviously going to talk about the weekend for the Diamond Tigers, the Powerhouse Tigers. Love what you saw this past weekend. And we'll give you a little bit of a midweek preview as well. I think there's some things to discuss outside of just the Elite Eight when it comes to the women's basketball program as well. Some bad news and some good news at the same time. Obviously, Zach, the breaking news of like the most current breaking news is that Samaya Smith, shockingly, I mean, I certainly didn't see it coming, Zach.
No.
Samaya Smith is entering the transfer portal. When you see like something like this happen, Zach, under Kim Mulkey, a player who's developed, a player who has played crucial minutes and contributed a lot to this team. When I see something like this happen, I'm cautious to freak out because of what Kim Mulkey has done in the portal in recent years. It makes me think that she's got a plan. She always does. It makes me think she's got a plan, though. However, it does surprise me that Samaya Smith would leave. I thought that she had developed really well here at LSU. I know she endured the injury and sat a year, but I felt like she took a huge step this year.
Specifically in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, especially in the NCAA tournament. She was a huge role. And so I don't know. This is the transfer portal world, Zach. This is the world we live in college sports now. It's just a reality. And it's nothing new, really. Not surprised in that we lost a big player, but surprised just at who it is. I mean, really, that's what I'm surprised. I expected you always expect players to hit the portal. It's going to happen. LSU's not immune to that, but I'm shocked that it's the player that it is. Samaya Smith, a player who is a crucial player on this team and played plenty of minutes and started and all the things. And
look to be next year the premier big.
that's right. I mean, Anissa Morrow, her career at LSU, a fantastic career at LSU, is now coming to a close. And you think, well, it's Maya's turn to be it.
I was literally thinking it on the car ride home today from work, thinking, man, I hate that the girls lost, but when you look forward to next season, maybe you get Flau'jae Johnson back. We'll talk about that. You obviously will get Michaela Williams back. And then in my head, I'm thinking, we'll get Samaya Smith back. And, now, she can be the premier big down in the paint for this team next year. But as soon as that thought process had crossed my mind, it wasn't much later that the news broke.
Yeah. I hate it, but again, that's the world you live in, Zach, with college sports. So we'll see. Obviously, LSU always has done well under Kim Mulkey in the transfer portal. And Zach, there are some big time names in the portal. And Zach, there is one that just broke that is absolutely massive. And I would expect LSU to be in the mix. The first one being Tanaya, right? Tanaya Latson from Florida State, who was fantastic in her game against LSU. She was a great, great player at Florida State, and I would love to have her for her final season on the Tigers. I think she averaged somewhat like 18, 19 points a game. But Zach, even bigger than that, the guard from Notre Dame, who was projected to be the number 2 pick in the WNBA draft, Olivia Miles, is foregoing the draft and entering the transfer portal. A massive, massive addition. Easily a top 3, maybe top 2 player in the portal immediately in terms of women's college basketball. And you would love to see LSU in the mix with – you're not for certain about Flau'jae Johnson. That's kind of up in the air. We don't know 100%, but you would love to see LSU trying to get the mix of those 2 players. Those are massive, massive players that you could add to this team. Zach would be a huge, huge addition to this team.
Yeah.
Zach, let's talk a little bit about Flau'jae and her situation. What are your initial thoughts for Flau'jae and a potential return or a departure? What does that look like in your mind?
Well, I'll say this, Reagan. I think from just initial thoughts, I have a feeling that she would stay. With that being said, she may decide that, her time at LSU is done. I mean, she has had a national championship. She has had a ton of success, All-American type success. I don't know how much further she can go as far as a ceiling within college basketball, within women's college basketball.
Sure.
But with that also being said, we saw a player like Anissa Morrow stay for a 4th year.
Yep.
We've seen other players that have stayed. We saw Caitlin Clark stay her last year. And as we know, the WNBA is by no means, this extremely wealthy business model that produces a lot of money for their players. A lot, so they don't produce a whole lot of revenue, and so obviously the players don't make a whole lot. And Flau'jae Johnson, it's going to be said that obviously Flau'jae Johnson has more value at LSU than she does in the WNBA. But you also have to think, Reagan, that she has a lot of value outside of LSU.
That's true.
She has a ton of value outside of LSU. She doesn't need LSU to go make the money that she can make. We know that she is a rapper. We know that she obviously has done plenty of NI deals. I mean, she was on in the Elite Eight. You saw her in the Powerade commercial. So, I mean,
Specific song for the commercial.
with her, yeah, with a specific song that she wrote for the Powerade commercial. So, it's not like I'm going to sit here and say, well, it's a better financial decision if she stays at LSU. With that being said, I do feel like I lean more towards her staying. Here's another reason, Reagan. We recently found out that Flau'jae Johnson is in a relationship with a current LSU football player.
That's true.
Who will have a full football season to go through.
Potential breakout season for Chris Hill.
And a potential breakout season for him in 2025 and, ending in 2026. So does Flau'jae want to stay around with her now boyfriend, Chris Hilton, and have one more final year at LSU to finish out whatever schooling she has left, if she does have any? I don't know. But so I don't know, Reagan. I think it could go really either way. I would not be surprised either way. I tend to lean more towards her staying. We did see, that she made comments after the game that she wants a national championship of her own. Obviously in her freshman year, Alexis Morris, Angel Reese,
sure,
those players were the premier players on that national championship team.
Yeah.
And Flau'jae Johnson was just a freshman, an extremely impactful freshman, but a freshman nonetheless. So she wants she has made it known that she wants a national championship of her own, where she is the feature of the team. And there is no doubt that if she came back next year, she would be the feature player. This year, obviously it was the big three, but when you really break it down, this was Anissa Morrow's team. And this was her year, right? So if she wants to, she could come back for her final season, her senior year, and this could be her team, right, as a player. And obviously with plenty of NIL opportunities, the ability to be able to stay in Baton Rouge with her now boyfriend. So there's a lot of things that you look at that points towards her staying. I just don't know if that is going to be her decision, because I do believe that her decision to stay will not be majorly decided on financials. I think that a lot of people are probably looking at that. I've heard it mentioned a lot that it makes financially more sense to stay at LSU, where there is a bigger audience, right, for her. And yes, I believe that all makes sense, but I just don't think that financially that adds up, because she can leave LSU and be perfectly fine financially, with all the deals and commercials and obviously her WNBA salary. I mean, all those different things. She would be perfectly fine. I mean, I just don't think financials is the decision. Could LSU put together an NIL deal, and could she have the funds to be able to support her? And they
already are.
They already are. Yeah. So
I mean, she's like, I think the second highest paid women in all of women's college sports. I mean, it's like close to $4 million, I think.
Yeah. So I don't know, Reagan. We'll see. We'll see, Reagan. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it, and maybe the financials is more of a topic than I'm thinking, but I think it's more personal than it is financial, to be honest with you, if she decides to stay with Chris Hilton still being in Baton Rouge, and obviously with the family that she has within that basketball team, her time at LSU, all those different things. I feel like there's more sentimental value there to look at when it comes to discussing whether or not Flau'jae Johnson is going to stay. The good news is, you got Michaela Williams back, right? And you've got some young talent and Jada Richard and Aaliyah Del Rosario and stuff like that. So, and as you mentioned, Reagan, LSU is very obviously going to hit the portal very hard. Obviously the guard from Florida State you mentioned, I think is a one to watch. I didn't know about the Notre Dame. I didn't know about the Notre Dame girl.
Yeah, I mean
that's big news. But there's a lot of different teams. I mean, there's going to be anybody that wants her is going to offer her. So anybody and everybody is going to offer her. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, South Carolina, obviously. So just think of it: UConn, UCLA. I mean, whoever you want to name, all the blue bloods of women's college basketball are going to offer her to come play basketball. So, is that a possibility? We'll see. But I don't know, Reagan. Overall, going to the game, it's heartbreaking. It's sad. Anytime you watch a team and there's players that potentially are playing their last collegiate game for your team who you've rooted for 2 to 3 years. Obviously it's sad for them. And, just credit to Nisa Mora, Reagan. What a career. Came to LSU and had to play in the shadow of Angel Reese last year. And, but still got hers. Still was an extremely impactful player. Her numbers were still super impressive, even in the year that Angel Reese was still there. And then this year just became the player to put the team on her back, night in and night out, continually. Double after double. What was she, top 3 in the history of the NCAA women's basketball in double doubles? Insane. So credit to Anissa Mara for a wonderful career. I know she wanted to end it with a national championship. Unfortunately, Reagan, the story of the game on Sunday was the second quarter. I thought about it after it happened, and Kim Mulkey confirmed it there in her post-game press conference, saying we lost the game in the second quarter. She straight up said that. Yeah. And, when you were able to get Betts in foul trouble, and she had 2 fouls early on in the first quarter, and she goes and sits the bench before the first quarter is even over. Everybody that is watching that game and understands basketball, and all the LSU fans were like, you absolutely have to take advantage in the second quarter. Yep. You have to. That was LSU's opportunity to create a sizable lead without UCLA's best player on the court and have a lot of momentum heading into the second half. And unfortunately, they just didn't do it, Reagan. They struggled with turnovers. There seemed to be like there was a lid on the bucket. Players that typically are making a lot of shots, they just weren't falling. How many times did we see Samaya Smith miss an easy, what seemed like an easy bucket right underneath the rim? How many times did we see a classic Michaela Williams jumper from one of the elbows, that seemed like they always go in, just, rim out or whatever it was, Reagan? LSU Flau'jae Johnson struggled as well from the field. So, or from the court, I should say. And so, that was the difference in the ball game, was that LSU was completely unable to capitalize in the second quarter when they had a very good advantage with Betts on the bench, and you got outscored 22-12 in that second quarter, and UCLA took the lead. And just in that moment there in the second quarter, Reagan, I'm thinking this is not going to be good for them, because
couldn't even do it without Betts.
You're already down, and now you have to try and hold things together with their best player back on the court, and you're really struggling with shooting the ball and you're turning the ball over, it's just a worst case scenario for LSU in that situation. But you got to give credit where credit is due. The Tigers fought back, and around the 3-minute mark, LSU brings it to within 3 points, and this is where the ball game changed. You had a chance there to really make it a game in the final waning couple of minutes of that ball game. LSU has the ball, loose ball, and it very, very clearly goes out of bounds off of UCLA.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the refs just made the wrong call and called it out on LSU, gave the ball back to UCLA, and that was really all she wrote. And unfortunately, it was not reviewable because it was not inside of the 2 minutes remaining, which I think that rule needs to be changed. I mean, I feel like anytime you have the potential for a possession, that should be reviewed. Like,
Right.
I mean, when each and every possession counts, especially in a ball game like that where it's a very tightly contested ball game, you're going to tell me in the last 3 minutes you can't review an out of bounds call that was very, very questionable, with a team that is down 3 and is trying to, stay competitive there in the last 3 minutes. I mean, you can't review that call. Like, I think that's a flaw in that rule. And unfortunately, it went against LSU in that way, and they were not able to recover from it. Now, I'm not going to say this was on the refs, but, obviously that did not help you at all. But the game, like I said, the game was lost in the second quarter, Reagan. And unfortunately, Tigers go down. I don't want to say we told you so, but we did say this would be where LSU ended the season in the Elite Eight versus the UCLA. Obviously, there was a lot on the minds of the UCLA Bruins to get revenge in this game after falling in the Sweet 16 last year to this LSU team and a lot of the same players. LSU was out for vengeance last year, and they got that vengeance. And this year, UCLA is out for revenge, and they got their revenge. So, unfortunately, the Tigers fall, but phenomenal season from the Tigers. They faced a lot of adversity, had a really tough schedule, especially with the top-tier teams in women's college basketball having to go on the road on each and every single one of those games and play some really tightly contested ball games. You dealt with injury there at the end of the regular season. Anissa Morrow, Flau'jae Johnson, your two best players had struggled with injuries there. What would it have looked like, had you been able to win a couple more of those SEC games? What would the seating look like? What would the bracket look like for you? Could it have been different? But ultimately this is how it ended, Reagan, and sucks. It hurts, but I look forward to any time a season ends, you always look forward to what you're going to see next year. And so now it's up to Kim Mulkey and her staff to rebuild this team. Flau'jae Johnson or no Flau'jae Johnson, we'll see. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they put together. Each and every single offseason has been really exciting with the players that they brought in. And so let's see what Kim Mulkey has up her sleeve this offseason.
I'm sure it'll be something that we'll all be thrilled about. Speaking of offseason and Zach basketball, in a little bit of breaking news, I'll address the first one. Earlier today, LSU men's basketball team landed their first transfer portal edition in, I believe, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last
Michael Mboku.
Uwoku.
Yeah.
I don't know if the N is silent or Unwoku. However you say
Michael
it.
Nwoku. I don't know. The transfer from Mississippi State. Yeah.
Yes. Transfer from Mississippi State. Was a pretty big role player for them. Main role really was to rebound. Zach, I'll say this, not a super overwhelming addition. However, the Tigers just landed, just breaking news, and Doug put it in the comment section.
Wait, hold on. We got breaking news. Is that what you said, Reagan?
Breaking news as of right now. Breaking news. Men's basketball lands, Zach, the number 4 ranked player in the portal. I believe his name is Dayton Thomas from UNLV, one of the top players in the transfer portal, one of the top guards in the transfer portal, a massive addition for the Tigers. Excited to see us land a big, big name like this. Again, Dayton,
Maybe
Dayton Thomas from UNLV, a big addition. Joe Tipton with On3 confirms that. That is a big, big, big addition. Averaged 15 points a game at UNLV and almost 5 assists a game for UNLV as well last year. Now headed to the Tigers, a top 5 player in the portal. You love to see it. Matt McMahon's finally getting on board in the transfer portal. I was hoping to see some additions land soon. Zach, with that being said, the Diamond Tigers. Zeke Man's about to go to bed.
Diamond Tigers.
The Diamond Tigers. The Tigers on the diamond. Baseball. You say go Tigers?
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. You say night to Zach?
How the Tigers turn diamond?
They play on the diamond. That's what I was saying. Like a baseball diamond. Love you, buddy.
Zach.
Hey, bud. Love you.
Love you, dude.
Love you.
Get some good sleep. Always good to have a Zeke appearance.
Yep.
So, Zach, the LSU baseball Tigers really, really get it done on the diamond this weekend. Was really thrilled with their performance at home. An odd weekend, 2 very late games that were played. I'm not going to lie. The last game, I 100% went to sleep. 100%. I was done. I was like, all right, this is enough for me. I'm going to bed. So I tapped out at about, I don't know, a little bit after midnight. I was like, okay, I'm done.
I stayed up for the whole game.
Oh no. And it ended at like 1:40 something, didn't
Yeah,
it?
and actually, it was pretty close to 2 a.m. Pretty close to 2 a.m. I wanted to, and the reason I want to see, which we'll talk about, Reagan, is I wanted to see, obviously, this was the game where you're going to see all these bullpen arms.
Sure.
And I wanted to see what it looked like for these LSU Tigers, especially with all the issues that they've had out of the pen here in conference play. And a little bit of good, Reagan, a little bit of bad.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, Zach. We kind of hit the nail on the head with game 1.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you, Reagan? What did I tell you?
Absolutely nailed it. And look, even with that being said, Cade Anderson really, really had a rough go at it. At it on
his worst game this season.
Thursday. Just wasn't at his best. That's going to happen at times. It's going to happen. He's not going to be just. You can't be Paul Skeens every Friday. Friday night ace can't be Paul Skeens. And even Paul Skeens had rough games. You think about the SEC tournament game against Arkansas. That was an off game for him, and we lost that game.
The South Carolina game.
That's right. So it happens. And it happened for Cade Anderson on Friday night. The good news is this offense is really good. Zach Cowan is really good. And Zach, it was exactly what the doctor ordered. You went from Anderson to Cowan. They closed the game out. LSU was down, and I believe it was the 5th inning. Yes, in the bottom of the 5th, LSU was down, Zach, at that point for 6-2.
Yes.
They're down 6-2 and put up a 5 spot with 2 home runs. Massive inning. I think it was 2 on, no outs. I think it was Curiel and Jones at the plate, and on the bags. And Dickinson gets the 3-run blast, big time swing, and then I can't remember who else got on base, but
Pearson got on base.
Pearson got on base. Yes, Pearson gets on base, and Milam gets the other slam to make it a 5-run inning. A massive, massive momentum swing. Zach Cowan had entered the game. I forgot that Connor Benj did come in, though.
Yeah, Connor Benj did come in.
For 2 outs.
Yeah, he recorded 2 outs, allowed 1 hit. Wasn't a bad game.
He completed the 5th inning. He completed the 5th inning for Cade, which was a good transition there. And then you had 4 innings for Cowan, which was doable. And I think that's why they kind of filled the gap there. So Cade got you 4 1/3. Again, his roughest night, 6 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Still pretty efficient, keeping the walks down, more strikeouts than walks. Benj allowed that run because he ended up walking 2 people when he was in and a hit. But Cowan comes in and was absolute nails. Right? Benj comes out after allowing his run. The bottom of the 5th, you have the 5-run breakout inning to take the lead by 1, and then Cowan enters the game and shuts it all down. 4 innings of work, only 1 hit, no walks, no runs, 7 strikeouts. Cowan was fantastic. And this is the epitome of why he needs to stay in the bullpen. Cade Anderson had an off night. This is game 1 of a home series. It's very important that you win game 1 at your home series. And it's a 1-run ball game. And Cowan comes in and shuts it all down. It was a massive outing by Cowan. LSU would go on to tack on some insurance run in the bottom of the 8th and close it out in the top of the 9th. It was a hard-fought win. You dug it out. You had a big explosive inning. Your ace out of the bullpen, if you want to call him that, it's really what he is, came in and really, really, really showed out. So Zach, that was a big way to start the weekend. Zach, tell me a little bit about Saturday, because it, again, like you said, it played out just like you wanted to. Cade Anderson, Zach Cowan, and then on Saturday, how did it go?
Ianson and Evans. Yeah, so obviously in game 2, it was a complete pitcher's duel. You knew it was going to be really difficult for LSU to score runs on Pico Khan. He's projected as the 5th best pitcher so far in the MLB draft for this upcoming year. And I mean, showed every bit of it. I mean, 8 strikeouts. He wasn't as good as he was against Oklahoma, but man, he's just got really good stuff. And LSU pitchers were LSU hitters were really having a hard time at seeing his pitches. He was mixing them really well. I mean, he threw, what was it, 93 pitches, Reagan? Something like that?
Yes.
93 pitches? Yeah. And so, LSU, they did a pretty good job of working his pitch count up. I thought they did a really good job of just, even though he was able to work ahead of a lot of LSU's hitters, they were able to fight off foul balls and run that pitch count up. And so, obviously, obviously you just had the 2 long balls. That's all that Pico Khan gave up. But that was enough, because on the other side, even though you had Pico Khan, who was having a really good day, so was Anthony Ianson.
Yeah.
In fact, Anthony Ianson
to get better, Zach.
Anthony Ianson had a better day if you want to just look at strikeouts. Anthony Ianson pitched a full 5 innings, right, which we know he's had his issues when he got to the 4th. He's had plenty of issues in the 4th inning, Reagan. Either it's been in the 1st inning where he struggled, or it's been kind of in the 4th. And pre-season or pre-SEC, he was having issues early innings, and then when he got to the SEC, he's been having issues as he was getting close closer to the end of his outing. And you get to the fourth inning, and he works out of a jam, and he's able to get the final out there in the the fifth inning as well. I mean, just really impressive. They brought him back out in the sixth, see if you get one more guy. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But Reagan, 12 strikeouts on 5 innings, only allowed five hits, and no earned runs. There was no earned runs on the night, Reagan. If you remember, Mississippi State only scored because of a pass ball by Luis Hernandez. So no earned runs for any of the pitching staff tonight. They combined for 18 strikeouts. 18 strikeouts, Reagan. Kason Evans comes in, slams the door, 4 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts. Now, he did have a little bit of issue with command. So I think this game was a good example of trying to see, exactly how far can Kason Evans go. And it seemed like there in the 8th and the 9th, he started to wane a little bit. You saw those walks happen there in the 8th and the 9th inning. But ultimately, Kason Evans was nails, was absolute nails. 4 innings pitched, only allowed 2 hits. He did have 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and LSU struck out 18 of the 27 outs that were needed in this ball game. So just super impressive by those 2 guys. When you've had a season where the pitching has not really lived up to expectations, to see LSU have a game where it was like a pitcher's duel, 2-1, the final score. Really encouraging for LSU to see LSU win one of those games. So, yeah, Luis Hernandez has really been impressive here in the SEC, early SEC conference games. And, he hit home run. And then obviously Ethan Fry also just continues to be really, really good as a DH. He also had the other home run, and those were LSU's 2 scores. Derek Curriell was able to get a hit. Daniel Dickinson got a hit. Michael Braswell was 2 for 3. Chris Stanfield. I mean, the bottom of the lineup continues to produce, Reagan. Yeah. And a large part of your production in that game, although there wasn't a lot, came from the bottom of that lineup in Chris Stanfield and Michael Braswell there in game 2. So LSU goes to win. The big thing that I think a lot of people have taken from the series, Reagan, is the manner of which LSU won each game, right? Game 1, you get behind and your bullpen saves you. I understand the people obviously have been frustrated with the bullpen, but you know what you've gotten at Kason Evans and Zach Cowan, and Zach Cowan just continues to be so consistent coming out of the bullpen, and you're able to win a game in comeback fashion, Reagan. You were down 6-2, as you mentioned, come back and win 8-6. Then you have a pitcher's duel of a game on Friday that you're able to win in a 1-score game, 2-1. And then Saturday happened, and it was just an absolute onslaught of offense from both LSU and Mississippi State. Luckily, LSU was on the better end of that, and Reagan, first inning, they put up 8 runs. Yeah, 8 runs. I don't know if you could ask for a better start to try and sweep the series.
You could not. It was an incredible start. On the last game of most weekends, you expect more offense, and when you put up an 8 spot in the first inning, it's a great head start.
Yep.
Chase Shores, I'll just say this: he's been consistent. I mean, it's been consistently the same thing.
He's been consistently inconsistent.
I wouldn't say consistently bad, but just like not elite, not like really great. Like he's good enough.
Yeah.
And that can lose you some games on Sunday. I mean, I get that. It's a typical stat line for Chase Shores: 4 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs. Like that's kind of been his stat line the last several weeks.
Which on a Sunday, you can't really be too upset with because offense is going to be There's
gonna
gonna
be
be plenty of
offense,
offense
no
on
doubt.
a Sunday. Yeah.
And credit to Chase Shores. Credit to Chase Shores. Took that ball off his face, stayed in the inning, closed the inning out. Gutsy move there by Chase. So tip of the cap to him. That showed a lot of character and I mean just respect for him to not just tap out, but man, go out there and close that inning out and then come out. So I was pretty impressed by that. But again, another same kind of night for him. But you're thankful that he, LSU spotted you 8 runs in the first inning. Now, his inning was he had a bad inning. That he had really one bad inning.
Yep.
State scored 4 in the second, right after you scored 8. So when they come back with 4, you're kind of like, all right, really, we just cut the lead in half. But it really wasn't a problem. Your offense kept rolling, but one bad inning for Shores. Really hope that, man, maybe he could get a little bit more consistent. He seems to struggle so much, Zach, with putting pitchers away or batters away. He just can't get them out.
And he's also had Reagan a little bit of just bad baseball luck. I mean, in that inning where they scored 4, there was 2 balls that were really just not hit hard at all. And I feel like how many weeks I feel like it's been 3 straight weeks we've said that whenever Shores has come out and had his issues. Just not a lot of solid contact, been a lot of weak contact that just unfortunately, finds a spot of grass and barely gets through the infield or is dribbled in the infield and infield single. So, he's just had a little bit of bad luck, so it's not like he's getting squared up every single Sunday. But a little bit of that there in that inning where they had, there in the second inning when they had 4 runs, obviously Hines squared him up pretty good with the homer. But after that, it was just, kind of, some unfortunate baseball luck with the other hits in that inning until the double happened. Right. So, but overall, Reagan, I agree with you. Just, not elite, but gets the job done enough.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And Zach, I'll be honest, LSU tacked on another run in the bottom and made it 9-4. And I was thinking to myself, okay, if they get to double digits and State doesn't score again, I'm going to bed. And in the bottom of the 5th, when LSU drove in those 2 runs, made 11-4, I went to sleep. I went to bed. So you'll have to tell me. I'm curious, Zach. What in the world happened with Cooper Williams? Is there an injury there that I missed? It shows him coming in recording nothing but 1 pitch and no outs.
No, there was not an injury. So here's what happened. He faced 2 guys. Okay. He faced 2 guys. First guy hits. He hits the batter. Second guy, he starts him out 2-0 and he yanked him. He's done. Now, when it happened, I tweeted that it felt like in that moment that Jay Johnson's frustration with the bullpen had kind of festered at that point. Yeah. And because you had Connor Ware, who came in, walked 2 batters, Maverick Rizzi had a walk, DJ Primo had a walk, and those guys were just constantly getting in hitters counts. Like every single batter was getting into a hitters count, like 2-0, 3-1. I mean, it seemed like every batter that the bullpen faced, they were getting in plus counts. The batters, Mississippi State was. Yep. And in that moment, it felt like Jay Johnson's frustration of all that just came to a head, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
Because like I said, Connor Ware walked 2 guys, Rizzi walked a guy, Primo walked a guy, Benj walked a guy. I mean, you're talking five walks. And in comes Cooper Williams, hits a batter, and then immediately gets into a 2-0 count and Jay yanks him. So, Yeah, I think that was unfortunately just Cooper Williams on the receiving end of some frustration from Jay Johnson. That's my perspective. That, obviously there could be a completely different story. It may not even be what happened, but from my perspective, it seemed like Jay Johnson, his frustration of the bullpen just kind of boiled over there. And in that probably frustration, I mean, dude, like as soon as he gets 2-0, as soon as he went 2-0, Jay Johnson walked out. Like no, like let's buy some time, because sometimes they'll get, like they'll throw over a couple of times to first base to let the guy warm up, or they'll have the catcher go out there and talk to the pitcher. Like as soon as he got 2-0, Jay Johnson was out of the dugout, went straight to the mound. Before he even got to the mound, like stepping out of the steps, he's calling to the pen. And I was like in that moment, I was like, yeah, he's obviously frustrated with his pitching staff right now. So that's what happened. I don't think there was an injury or anything like that. Because they didn't examine Cooper Williams.
Okay.
Nothing happened to where he asked.
The stat line was just funky looking to me. So I was like, what in the world happened here?
Yeah,
so
man,
Jaden Newton, he was solid as it gets.
I'll say this, Reagan. I think you had 3 performances out of the bullpen, not including Chase Shorts. You had 3 performances that just were more of the same, and then you had 2 performances that were promising. Yeah. Rizzy came in. He did walk a guy, but he had a strikeout. He allowed a hit, but like he was able to work through that. Like once he had the 2 guys on base, he was able to he got the strikeout. And then he got he got another out to be able to end the inning and keep Mississippi State off the scoreboard in that inning. So he was able to work around the damage that he had caused in that inning. So that was promising, right? It wasn't great. It didn't look great. He had the walk and he allowed the hit, but it was promising. And then, yes, Jaden Newt, no walks, 2 strikeouts in 2 innings. He only allowed 1 hit. So he continues to impress. I'd love to see
in the pen in the weekends.
I'd love to see more of Jaden Newt. Maybe, he takes on more of a role where he is that setup guy for a Zach Cowan or a Kason Evans if you need it. Maybe he becomes a setup guy like that, or maybe he's just going to be one of those guys that they hold till Sunday. And who knows? Maybe Jaden Newt can become the Zach Cowan of Friday and the Kason Evans of Saturday. Who knows? He's obviously shown us that he can extend with his last 2 outings in the midweek, or his 2 previous outings in the midweek before last week. So, I mean, he looked good, Reagan. He looked good. He had 20. Let's see. I don't know if it's going to show me the number of strikeouts. Yeah, it's not going to show me the number of strikeouts I'd have to go back and see if I can find that. But he threw 27 pitches. He induced 1 ground ball, 2 flyouts, 2 strikeouts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 outs. I'm trying to see where the 6th one is somewhere in there. Anyways. But yeah, so he looked really good, Reagan.
Yeah. And I would fully expect Zach, he pitched Saturday. He was the last pitcher to pitch this past weekend. That means he's not going to start on Tuesday. I would expect it to be Schmidt.
Yes, Connor Schmidt did not pitch this weekend, and Reagan still no sign of Gavin Guidry.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, no comment on that anymore. We'll see.
At this point, I think it's just when he shows up, he shows up. I mean, you just no more speculation. Just when he
very frustrating.
When he finally is able to play, then he's great.
It is what it is. We need him though. We do need him. Well, that being said, Zach, we really need to hit a break. We got lots of comments we need to get to whenever we get back. Plenty of comments when we get back. So we'll get all to those right after this.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
Right at it here in the Tigers Avenue show. Zach, throw some of them comments in there. I know there's plenty of them.
Tyler Towns is in here. You got the brooms out, got the sweep. That was really huge for LSU. I know we didn't mention that, Reagan.
7-2.
Yep.
You're ahead of the ball game
7-2.
now. You're ahead of the game.
You're just outside all those teams that are 8-1. So, at some point the competition is going to get tougher for those teams, and hopefully LSU can capitalize as the competition gets tougher for those teams that are all 8-1. Ryan said, hey, what's up, Pastor Zach and Tyler? Always faithful to be in here. Ryan also commented on Flage, why not come back? And she still will make money and get an education. I mean, obviously, it's a good point. Dad's in here. He's got a whole paragraph for us, but I love it. I'm coming on here to say I'm extremely proud of my boys. 200 episodes. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you guys. I normally stay out of the way and not say much, but today I must say these guys are the best podcasters ever. I don't know about that.
Ever.
And he said, I'm not biased at all. I love you both. If I die today, I know the cause of Christ will go forward and the fan base of LSU will have our families' continued devotion. That being said, once again, congratulations on 200 episodes. Really appreciate that. Dad. Look, you ain't got to stay away. You ain't got to stay out of it. You are welcome every single Monday and Thursday to join us. Come comment. Obviously, we love seeing our dad join us. Let's see. At Ryan, that's my point. She won't really need a WNBA salary. Her music career makes her money. Exactly. You can also say that if she goes to the WNBA, like she's gonna be fine financially either way. Yeah. Either way. Kim needs bigs and a point guard. We will see what LSU does. I would love for LSU to get the point guard out of Florida State. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
There's Doug saying men's basketball player in the portal. We
Big
mentioned
addition.
that. Yep. Good to see you, Doug.
I'm gonna say it's Dayton Thomas.
Let's see. Ryan said almost all of LSU women's losses came because they got out physical by bigs. If Nice was Del Rosario size, they'd be in the Final Four. Well, I mean, that would be, probably. I mean, it was very obvious. Nice
chance for sure.
Nice struggled a little bit offensively when Betts was in the game because Betts is just
6 inches taller than her.
Yeah, she's just dominant. Dad said, I only want to see South Carolina get put out. So, it wasn't a great weekend for the girls, Reagan, in all sport. I mean, basketball went down. Softball lost their first weekend series in SEC play to South Carolina. Just unfortunate. Let's see. Ryan said he stayed up for the game. I was struggling, and he dislikes the series starting on Thursday night. We'll get prepared because you got another Thursday through. Yeah, back to back, unfortunately. Dad said, I went to the Skeens game when he lost it against Arkansas. Haha, of course. The only time I ever went to Hoover. Unfortunately, yes. I was with Dad and our younger brother. Ryan said we need 3 Cowans. Yeah.
Be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice. Let's see. Ryan said Moose State has a better team than their record shows. I would agree with that. They have some really talented players in their lineup.
At this point,
they've got a true ace.
They played Texas, Oklahoma, and LSU, all highly ranked teams.
Just a really brutal schedule. They might have a similar path like LSU did last year.
Top heavy type of schedule. It's tough.
Yep. Let's see. Ryan, is it safe to say that Schmidt is back to midweek games? Yeah. His days of midweek. I made a couple comments on Twitter I probably shouldn't have about that, but anyways, we love Jay Johnson. I had to poke a little fun at Jay Johnson there. All respect in the world for Jay Johnson, phenomenal head coach. But yeah, I poked a little fun at him for making that comment, and then I was like, well, for the foreseeable future, looks like that may be his only action is a midweek game. So nothing on Schmidt. I think he's going to have a phenomenal career. Just struggling a little bit here as a freshman on his command. When he gets his command, it's going to be really, really bad for opposing hitters. We need Newt and someone else besides Cowan that can come in and close. Yep. You got two right now. Maybe Newt's developing into a third guy that you can really trust. We'll have to wait and see. Reagan, I guess it's a good thing to mention is obviously as we head to the midweek, it seems like every midweek now is an audition for these younger pitchers and these guys that are in the bullpen to see who can warrant more playing time. So that can be kind of our preview, Reagan, as we look ahead into Louisiana Tech, LSU playing Louisiana Tech tomorrow. Who is some guys, Reagan, that you could potentially foresee outside of Gavin Guidry? Because we know hopefully at some point whenever Gavin Guidry gets back that he could be one of those guys that you really rely on out of the bullpen. Hopefully so. Hopefully the injury. And maybe Reagan, that's why they're taking their time because of what the bullpen is right now. They want to make sure that he is completely healthy and doesn't have, potentially doesn't potentially re-injure himself or further the damage that has been done with this injury by coming back too soon. Maybe that's a reason why we're seeing what's happening because there's still a lot of games to be played, Reagan, and obviously some much bigger games down the line once you get into postseason. Maybe that's a reason. But outside of Guidry, Reagan, and obviously the two guys that we already know of, we've mentioned Newt. So for the sake of that argument, we'll leave Newt out of this conversation as well. Yeah. But who are some guys in this bullpen, Reagan, that you could foresee potentially maybe taking a step forward and it's starting this Tuesday night against Louisiana Tech?
Well, starting this night, against Louisiana Tech, I would say if any guy had an opportunity to begin to make an impact on the weekend, I would say Jacob Myers.
Okay.
Jacob Myers, man, if he could command his pitches, he's got the best fastball on the team, period.
Yeah.
Period. He's 99, like 98, 99, 97. He's about sitting 97, and he can touch 100 every now and then. If he could command his pitches, he could play a crucial role in the weekend to get you an inning or two. But he's just so inconsistent with hitting the strike zone. I'd love to see him tomorrow night. I really want to see more of Jacob Myers. I feel like he needs some more time, more reps. Because, man, he comes in and he throws gas.
Yeah.
But he's got to keep it in the zone. So we'll see.
Wildly effective.
Yes. So, but that fastball is elite, man. It's elite.
It really is.
So I'd love to see more of him tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously there's a lot of guys even that pitched on Saturday that could get some work. You can give Connor Ware some more work. You can give Maverick Rizzi some more work. You can give Cooper Williams some more work. I really would love to see another lefty. Is it going to be DJ Primo? Is it going to be Cooper Williams? I don't know. I really would like to see another lefty, kind of blossom. Hopefully, maybe, and from my point of view, maybe DJ Primo can do that. They seem to really trust DJ Primo because they bring him in every single weekend. Every single weekend he's coming into a game. Yeah. So can he refine, some of his command? And because obviously that's been the issues with pretty much everybody in the bullpen. So I want to see DJ Primo get some more work as well. Maybe you see it this midweek. I don't know if we do or don't. Reagan, another guy that we haven't seen a lot of that I want to see more of, but we just haven't seen is Chandler Dorsey. Chandler Dorsey, I don't know what's going on with Chandler Dorsey. He hasn't had enough appearances for us to really be like, yeah, he's just super inconsistent. So, why not give him a shot and see?
I remember his first performance being pretty good.
His first performance was good. So, could he potentially – I want to see Chandler Dorsey get some more work. That's another lefty that potentially could see. Obviously, coming out of the transfer portal, he was highly regarded, was really their closer for South Florida. So, he has that ability, Reagan, to come in and close out some games. So, you might need a guy like that. If Cowan and Case and Evans have to stretch earlier in games, if your starter gets hit on, gets out of a ball game early, you're going to need some more guys because obviously, I mean, Cowan and Evans, they can't go like 6 innings, right? They look really good between 3 to 4 innings. After that, I mean, Cowan, Cowan, I don't know. Maybe you could throw him, 6 innings or something like that.
Yeah.
Case and Evans, maybe not. You really need some other guys to be able to support those two guys. Especially if you want to be more competitive on Sundays, and also just if you want to have some more setup guys or guys to follow, but really mainly setup guys. You really right now need more setup guys for Friday and Saturday. And you just don't have anybody that you really are confident in to be a setup guy because it just feels like if somebody's coming in to set up to Cowan or Kaysen, it just feels like there's going to be at least one run allowed, So are you willing to continually give up, free passes and potential runs, in the middle of a ball game to try and get to your better relievers? I don't know.
Yeah.
But LSU is going to have an opportunity to obviously have some pitchers get some run on Tuesday night.
Yeah. Yeah. La Tech. Again, one of those Louisiana programs that are pretty solid, but like the Raging Cajuns, maybe aren't as good as what they're used to being. 17-11 on the year. They're about 4-2, I think is what it said in their conference. So they're having a decent year. This is a team, though, just like every midweek game, you should overpower them. You should take care of business pretty easily. We'll see, though. Midweek games are always interesting. They are either very easy and boring, or you're like, are we really losing to these guys right now? Are we really in a battle with these guys right now? That's baseball, though. That's baseball. We'll see. I always enjoy having a Tuesday game, though. It fills the gap between weekend to weekend. So,
you really only had one midweek game this year where it was like, and that was
the state game. That's right. You ended up pulling it out, though, too. Yeah. So, yeah, you ended up pulling it out. But looking forward to tomorrow night against La Tech, seeing some of those guys get some run in. Maybe another guy that can find themselves in the weekend, maybe contributing. We really need it. So, but thrilled, Zach, with the performance this weekend. Sweep by the Tigers is absolutely massive. Again, you're on track. You're a game ahead of where you want to be by the end of conference play. So, very pleased with what happened this past weekend. All right, Zach, that'll about do it. Appreciate all you guys being here. Any other comments, Zach, we can get to before? Or I think we've already kind of.
Ryan said, I don't mind Schmidt staying as your midweek starter later in this tournament. Yeah. You will need him.
Yeah, sure. Let him continue to get used to
also going in the postseason.
Yeah. That's right. Let him get used to that starting type of role.
Carl Dunn says, congratulations on 2,000. Oh, wow. I think he meant 200, but yeah, I got you, Carl. Man, can you imagine 2,000? That's a long ways away, Reagan.
That'd be wild.
Yep. 10 times more of this 200, and we got it.
That's right. Appreciate you, Carl, very much. All right, that'll pretty much do it here in the Tigers Avenue show. Looking forward to tomorrow night's game against La Tech. Appreciate y'all being in here and supporting us and giving us all your feedback and your concerns and comments and questions and your criticisms and your thoughts as well. We appreciate it as always. It's been a fun 200 episodes. Here's to 200 more. Appreciate you guys very, very much. We'll see you next time here in the Tigers Avenue. 5-Star here, take us out. Peace.
Who that 5-star?